Hello again and welcome to another episode of Digital Natives. I'm your wonderful host, Sami Mohamud. And as you know, Digital Natives is that show that touches on the trending topics that focuses on the Nigerian youth. Today, we'll be talking about the issue of hard drugs among the Nigerian youth in today's society and why it's such a rampant trend among these youths. I brought back one of my wonderful guests from an earlier episode, as well as another, should I say, expert? We will find out. But without further ado, I'm going to introduce them with my right.
Who is a Fidelis, a supply chain enthusiast and an aspiring leader.
And on my left.
This is Adishao, a medical student and an advocate for SDG goals.
That's why I call that the expert, a medical student. Okay, so kicking off the show, let's just dive right into it. What would you say is causing this issue of the use of hard drugs among the youth?
Yeah, thank you very much. In my own opinion, from what I've learned over the years and what I've observed, I think everything boils down to education, health education. So I'm very glad when I learned that I'll be co-hosted by a medical expert. So I was relaxed. If I'm here to get schooled because I know she will definitely do most of the schooling here. But from what I've observed so far, people lack this education. They really don't know what is what. Understand? And they really get influenced by the so-called trend. Understand? I was in a position to counsel a young man, who actually took 2 packs of tramadol. Like, what on hell was he thinking? Understand that it was
a day or was
at a stretch. Understand now?
Okay.
Understand? And the guy then started conversing. Understand? He had seizure. Understand that? But because he has affiliates to where some people that I know, so they thought I'll be in the best position to actually do something then. So those kind of things are things that are troubling the Nigerian youth, the improper education and maybe peer pressure also.
Okay. Do you have anything to chip into that?
Definitely, and I would like to come on various angles. When you discuss hard drugs, there are some drugs that we might, classify as hard drugs.
Okay.
And there are some drugs that have CNS function, that is, they affect the central nervous system, whether they are classified as hard drugs. So when you talk about this, when we say hard drugs, right now are drugs that are totally considered illegal, that you cannot use without prescriptions or some sort of, and then generally what we have marijuana, we have cocaine, we have opioids. So those are the kind of drugs that we know that even in the smallest amount, they have a high influence on the brain and what we perceive at that point in time. Nevertheless, we have some activities in which young people have been able to devise other social use for some of the drugs that we have that are majorly available in some of the pharmaceutical outlets that we have. So like you mentioned, tramadol, we have codeine. These are drugs that actually normally in small quantity they act on certain parts of the body, but when taken in large amount or taken consistently to the point of addiction, then they now have what we call some extra effects in other part of the brain, and which young people have devised means to use this, especially when they realize that these drugs are considered hard drugs are not available. There are several ways young people get themselves high on several drugs, whether hard drugs or non-hard drugs or some other means that just to get that particular feeling. But to discuss why we think young people are, why it's a rampant issue among Nigerian young people, among young people in Nigeria, is that it's just, first of all, we must understand that at a young age, young people are experimental. Do you understand? They are curious. So these are characteristics that is normally expected for any young person. So there's a lot of information that we are gathering, a lot of things that we want to know. The same we're talking about drugs, we're talking about sexual activities, we're talking about all these things that the right information needs to be put there. But I would say that part of the issues why drug abuse or addiction to hard drugs is a rampant issue in most of the among youth in Nigeria is for several reasons. One of those reasons is that these drugs, there is not a detailed way to restrict the availability of these drugs. You understand what I'm saying? So when this drug is readily available or is easily available, then it is easier for anyone to experiment on it. So that is one of the issues, because there's no how young people experiment. You understand? So whatever we are facing here, other countries are having such challenges, but there are things that are put in place to ensure that one way or the other, there's a limit to which they get access to these drugs. So one of the issues is that these drugs are readily available. You understand what I'm saying? Without much policing or restriction, as it were. And like I said, because young people are experimenting, you understand what I'm saying? So it is something that goes around peer pressure, groups, and the rest of that. And there's some form of benefits to reach, of course, some psychological or psychoactive benefits of such drugs. Like, you know, they believe that it makes you feel cool among your mates, it relieves your stress, it gives you liver, that babe that you cannot talk to now.
Pressure.
You know, by the time you start taking such drugs, you're able to get that, you know, that
courage.
brave, that, you know, that courage to do exactly what you want to do. And then another reason why it might be something that is consistent and continuous, because a lot of young people are unemployed. Let me bring it forth that way. So an idle mind, like they say, is the devil workshop. You understand? Because drug abuse is a period of experiment. Is a period in which young people just have to overgrow, just like every other thing that we experiment on. You understand me? But when you have a situation whereby young people are no longer, they don't have anything else to engage in, or they don't have a system that is able to engage them productively in other areas, then you see them being stuck in that transition age of, you know, of using drugs. So those are one of the things that I identify.
To say that since she's a medical expert, I would like her to portray more of that. Okay, I actually liked the way she started. Now, if you look at the drugs itself, instead, most guys, some of them which you mentioned, like marijuana, understand? I don't see, when you talk about restrictions, the availability. Marijuana is the one that, if it grows in some people's backyard. It's very close to the sockaway. You just see it there. It's a very special breed. And the other ones they buy from whatever dealer they have. Now, if we take out I'm not saying let's not take out marijuana. Let's look at other ones now that are, how will I put it now? That
like the cocaine.
Those ones are more expensive in code and not very
easily accessible. Yeah.
Now, how do we cope? Like looking at the marijuana as for instance now. There's a lot of drinks here. You hear something like squishes now. It's made with, that is the key.
They sell this in Nigeria?
Key ingredients.
In what?
In these drinks, squishes.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Understand? So it's mixed with whatever juice and everything. But without, if the marijuana is not inside, it can't be called squishes. It's just a normal juice. Marijuana makes it.
Are these drugs that are being manufactured? Are these drinks that are actually manufactured by a company that is licensed?
It's not being manufactured by any trade.
Local person.
Exactly. Just a local.
So this thing is called squishes.
I've been in a joint. That is just a party rather. Understand? Where we have a water dispenser.
Okay.
You understand? But what's inside is colored.
Okay.
So
it's
go and serve
local
yourself.
made. I get it.
That way, say use your hand and do yourself. Understand?
Yeah.
Then I was oblivious to the fact that I was just growing up. I think that was at my 200 level. So so I went there, you know, like a greenhorn who was just trying to blend. And I pressed with my hand. And after that night, seriously, the story has changed. But what I see is that the education is not. That was I actually protest on education. If I had known. After I did that first time, I'm just saying on here, I know, I believe every other person can learn from it. After I did that on air, I realized that I don't have this repel for such stuff again. I feel if I've done it before, I can't die, I can do it again. And that is kind of a thing, that kind of mentality that kills most of our youth these days, I guess.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Okay, I agree with what you have said, but just like I've pointed out, like whatever challenges we're having with drug abuse among young people is not peculiar to Nigeria alone.
Yeah, definitely.
We have advanced countries that are facing these challenges, and there are things that are put in place to restrict the accessibility to these drugs, to have a system that rehabilitates, that engage young people, you understand, to find other options. Like I said.
Okay, so wait, you're of the opinion that it's to do with just experimenting, and you're saying it's the lack of education. So I just want to go back to that story of that person that took the tramadol packs. Did he ever at one point tell you that, oh, this was the reason why he started doing it in the first place? Or was it just like peer pressure, he just picked it up among friends?
You know, when you start hearing things like, I took this, I took that, I did this, I did that, you understand? As she said, we're in an experimental phase, you understand? There's a phase we get in life that we're always conscious of what we do. Understand now? But now we think we can do anything and get away with it. So now this is like between your 18 and 29 is your phase, is the stage where you can experiment most of the things. So the guy, being a young lad in university, he felt the need to get high. The need to feel among. So, but he never knew. He has not studied his body pattern. So people do take that stuff and don't get convulsed. But I don't think he's yet to study. Exactly. So going to parks at the
Yeah.
stretches. Even those guys that are into it
Don't
were
go
like, guy,
outside.
are you okay
Yeah.
at all? Understand? So I think he jumped the gun.
Yeah.
He didn't do it well.
All right, fair enough. Okay, we'll still come back on this topic. We'll be taking a break right now. Please do stick around. Thank you. Welcome back. The show is still Digital Natives, and I'm still your host, Sami Mohamud, with my guest today. Just before we went on the break, we were discussing about the issue of hard drugs among the Nigerian youth, and from the discussions I've been having, most of what they've attributed the cause to is either a cause for experiment at a young age or just the basic lack of knowledge about what they're getting into. And you were saying you had some proposed solutions to these problems. If you would like to pick that back up. And
I'm not the one proposing it for the
Yes,
first time, but
yeah.
these are solutions that other countries have been able to adapt that would seem to work in that aspect.
All
Just
right.
like I mentioned earlier, that even though you're educating young people and you have these drugs readily available,
Yeah.
it's just like pouring water in the basket. You understand what I'm saying? Just like every other issue. So there need to be effort made by stakeholders, community leaders, the government to restrict access to these drugs. Let's start with first the drugs that we can monitor. Do you understand? We talk about tramadol, we talk about codeine, and we have an epidemic or a case in the northern part of the country whereby a lot of people are making money from the importation of these drugs and direct distribution to these vulnerable young people. You understand me? I saw a video online and it was very devastating to see young people rendered absolutely useless, do you understand me, under the influence of these simple cough drugs. You understand what I'm saying? So there's a lot that the government and people well-wishers of stakeholders in the community need to pick up and address this issue. That first of all, we don't want these drugs to be readily available. You understand me? Take for example, the government at least needs to stop the transportation of tramadol. They need to be an alternative to the cough syrup in the northern part of the country, realizing that young people are already misusing this particular drug. So and people, corporates that are involved in the importation of these drugs, they need to be arrested. And sometimes that some containers were seized at the port, but nobody was arrested or held accountable for this. Do you understand what I'm saying? These people would continue.
If I come in there,
Okay.
like this is a medical drug, okay?
Yes.
Understand now. For the fact that some people are abusing it, doesn't make the drug itself wrong, okay?
No, but I think
there's an amount. See, when something is beyond medical use, it's obvious. When something is made for large production, it's obvious. There are some agencies that are involved, that are licensed to import drugs. Some of these people that import these tramadol drugs are not licensed. Do you understand what I'm saying? To do by NAFDAC or whatsoever to import these drugs. And even at that, part of the steps that governments can make is the restriction of these drugs. Do these drugs now need prescription? Do you understand? So that not just anybody can just decide to walk into a pharmacist to pick up these drugs. We have other drugs. It's not only tramadol that is being abused. We have other forms of drugs. Do you understand that are being used? Yeah, and then also we need to have a rehabilitation system that actually works, because by the time you have young people that already caught or already have some form of addiction to any form of these drugs, we need to have a rehabilitation system that works, which apparently we don't have in the country yet. Also, like you discussed, education is also very important, but that will come also in play by the time these young people are able to see the effect of the drug. MTN is on a drug abuse campaign for the next 1 year, and they are doing great job. They started with advert that connect with young people. Do you understand? Like, drug abuse is a one chance boss. If you enter this boss, say wahala. Do you understand? So those are great adverts. Those are great initiatives to encourage young people that you can enjoy life, you can have fun. Do you understand me? Without being an addict. I tell you that a lot of young people, even I don't really have friends. I wouldn't say I know of friends that abuse it, but they think it's a normal thing. They know that these drugs are not good. Even some of them are in one way or the other in the medical field, but they still go because it gets to say become an addiction, and they need what? They need help. And people that benefit from the sales and production or distribution of such harmful drugs need to be brought to book. So these are the things that we can do to ensure that, to deter young people, that this process it's not something that you should stay in or you should even engage with in the first place. And by the time we have young people that are already engaged, we need a rehabilitation process that will bring them back to the community. The video that I saw was very devastating because just these young people were just lying on the road. It was not something to look at or to be
I
proud of. So
definitely
that's
agree
just
with you there. Like in the sense of what you were saying, finding alternative medication. I know, like in England, for example, or even just like in different countries in the West, especially to do with cough mixtures that have codeine, unless you have a direct prescription from the doctor saying he needs a cough mixture with codeine. Like, Benylin now, which is probably what the codeine that you're drinking about here, they have Benylin over there, but they have it without codeine because they've enforced it on them to make one without codeine. It's not like they don't have the codeine one, but that one requires special prescription.
Like from what she said now, I think it's more of a people's problem than
the government
involvement.
Okay, all right.
Like if you check the country we're naturally, I don't want to sound apologetic, but we are stubborn in this country. You understand? Now, when you try to block a particular loophole, they will definitely
find
for
another one.
for it. There's only few medical experts there that are not willing to compromise. Even after signing the oath of whatever they sign, they still go and do
whatever.
Exactly. I was privileged to meet a particular pharmacist. There was time about having issues. I went for test, and after the test, I don't want to treat myself. But I was still in school then, so I just said, let me come back home, let me get a proper treatment rather than go and do all this. After paying for the test and got the test result, I went to the lady, what's it called, the pharmacist, actually. She told me what was actually wrong. She interpreted the test to me. The doctor just told me that I was having, malaria typhoid, understand now? But she went deep down and told me that, like, I asked her, this plus here, what does it mean? This minus here, what does it mean? Then she told me that I'm having a slight challenge with my liver, understand now? Okay, I asked her, what can I do to remedy this, because I know liver is just one organ. It's not like kidney that you can do transfer. So I was scared, you understand? So she told me that no, she's not in a position to do that. Understand? That I should consult
a doctor.
So that's why I just have to wait and come back home. But there are few of persons like that. The issue is not actually the government. The government is part of the people. It's the people that become the government eventually. But the people is we. Some of us, like, we are. How do I put it now? We just want to make money. Instead, okay, fine. Let's take out tramadol, the branded products. Let's take out all this Benylin and the rest of them. All of weed, marijuana. How do we
control it?
See, there's a fellow of mine. I don't want to mention his name on here. Understand now? Where he lives, he has a farm of it. So how?
Daniel, what you are saying, I don't disagree with you. There are some countries that have legalized marijuana. See, that is what they've said, that okay, if you propose that, if it is legalized, then people will be able to, whatever solution it is, the government has to be involved. Now I put something to you: the government is of the people, the government is the people, and the government will pick responsibility to ensure that everybody in the country is sane, protected, and live the right life. So you can't say it is a people's problem. What are not the government? Why do you not have government enforcing laws to ensure that everybody is okay? By the time we find out that a particular activities, do you understand, based on popular opinion or even by legislative members that are expected to bring forth these issues, do you understand what I'm saying? Then it is their responsibility to ensure that everybody in the society is doing the right thing and is living the right kind of life.
All right. Thank you very much for that. We'll be going for another break. And please keep it locked. Welcome back. The show is still Digital Natives. I still remain your host, Sami Mohamud. And we're just going to come back and try and round up today's episode. So, if you're just joining us, today's topic has been the issue of hard drugs among the Nigerian youth. We've asked the questions of who is to blame or what is to blame. And just before the break, we were kind of giving solutions to this issue. Is there any more solutions that you have to offer, both of you, or?
Yeah, in my own opinion, I think one of the things, I don't know who put it, whether it's Fela himself or his kids, where we have a shrine where stuff like that is legalized.
Okay.
Now,
Not
but
necessarily legalized.
not necessarily, but when you get in there, you have the autonomy and
Yeah,
the leverage to do whatever.
Yeah.
But when you come out there, at least be sane for once. You understand? I think something like that. It's
so creating like recreational centers.
Create a hub, like drug abuse hub. Let them go there and abuse and come back. But no, see, the thing is that only few people will do that. Some people will do that. Like, okay, maybe for example, I stay on the island, so I have to take taxi to Ikeja just to
one of these hubs.
Exactly, just to take marijuana. It's not very very sane. You understand? So when you do that kind of thing, so it's only people that stay around there might.
Invest in it,
yeah, exactly. That's what I feel.
But then, don't you now think for such a thing to work, it means you have to legalize some of these drugs for the? Because like,
even the question I would like to ask you is that who are those that will be creating this orb? Because if this orb is left to individuals, they can create this orb wherever they want.
It's not going to be individual.
That I'm bringing to wherever they want, they can create the orb. That is one. Two, if it is the government, then the people will fight to have the orb at their convenience. And if not, the issue of addiction, they will go at any length. When we are discussing addiction, I think we should understand what some of these drugs, it's not really even the use itself or the peripheral use of it or once in a while use of it. It's because this is a drug that you can easily get addicted to, that can override your natural, normal thinking. Do you understand what I'm saying? That if you don't get this drug, you will do everything. If you're a man of the house or you're a woman, we know how even ordinary alcohol is ruining families, ruining the society. Let me bring my point down to you that
I'm sorry.
These drugs, yes, they have scientific benefits. They have this, they have that. But they have a high rate of addiction, an addiction that you cannot control. A need that overrides your sense of thinking, your sense of ration at any point in time. Now, we don't want a society whereby young people can say that, oh, even if you have this up, we then now measure the amount they take for them. We then now say, Oga, as you have take these 2 pints now, you don't finish for today, or you need to what? You need to go back home. So we need to be careful, especially this is a country where we have how many number of almost 200 million Nigerian people. Half of those population are young people. And we're having young people that are even less than 18. We have small children, do you understand me, already experimenting with this drug because it is readily available, not because it is restricted, because it is readily available. So this is not the time for us to imbibe the culture of let us, since it's what you want, let us continue to do it that way.
But, let me just come in, please. Sorry to stop you as that. See, it's not something of whether it's the availability or whatever. It's simply it's a thing of the mind. My mom, okay, she's a trader, understand that. But every day when she comes back home, she must take paracetamol. Whether she's tired or she's not tired. She just feels she just need to take paracetamol.
She's addicted. But what is the long-term effect of that addiction? Of that addiction to
paracetamol? Side effects, definitely. Even paracetamol. Does that? I have a colleague of mine, Aswegu Daniel. Okay.
Does that
CEO of Go Logistics? This guy takes Coke every day. If any day doesn't take Coke, he won't leave. He will be sweating.
Daniel, may I bring a point to you? I've stated this point before.
There's addiction everywhere. Understand now? For the fact that someone is not addicted to something you perceive as wrong.
It's not perceived.
I'm not saying.
Don't get my discussion wrong. Okay. What is the adverse effect of an addiction to a what? To this kind of drugs? Your mom comes home every day. I don't even want to mention. I don't even want to mention the effect on her kidney. Let me just put that one aside. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I know that. I'm educated.
But what is the weight? What is the? Does that eventually make her a destitute that lies on the road to make her to steal? If she's at the head of the family, that means that she now use all her income to now say paracetamol. Now here I go they take every day.
But she has it.
I am bringing. You're not getting what my. Oh God. See, I'm telling you, I'm addicted to chocolate.
Okay.
Do you understand? Okay. But I'm not about to take all my life savings to go to court.
Because you have sense
to go
now.
Yes,
so
because
is it the government fault that some people decide not to have sense?
Are you listening to me? That these drugs have CNS.
They take over your
mental state.
Thank you very much, and hope you've enjoyed today's episode of Digital Natives. I still remain your humble and wonderful host, Sami Mohamud. Until the next time, please keep it locked on Aleeftvng. And once again, enjoy yourself.
Thank you.